Great, I'm Leo Espinoza. I'm a soil specialist in Arkansas. And like Terry, this presentation is supposed to be not for those doing satellite work, okay? Mostly for a farmer consultant. And what I like to do is more provide some background information. I don't pretend to be an expert on processing imagery. In fact, I don't know how to do it. I have somebody who does, and that's what's really important. In fact, this is not even my official responsibility. You know, some people have hobbies like fishing and hunting. My hobby is this, and watching soccer or football. So the objective again is to provide some general information about using satellites and discuss the potential use of satellites to manage a crop. Here in the area, as far as I know, not many people use satellites, okay? Maybe because of the complexity associated with the processing, right? It requires some correction. There are a lot of contaminants between the satellite and the ground, a lot of aerosols that interfere. So you need to have a little bit of knowledge in order to process. Perhaps due to the lower resolution, like a Landsat, most of these satellites, they give you, at least the public satellites, they'll give you like a 30 square foot resolution or 100 square foot resolution. In reality, they were initially launched to look at changes more in the landscape scale, like changes in deforestation, changes in crop rotations, big scale, not really in precision ag. Problems with cloud cover and the frequency of collision. If you have a satellite that passes only once per month, once every 2 weeks, and happens to be cloudy, so there you go and lose your opportunity, or simply due to the lack of support, right? Of finding somebody who's versed into this and can give you relevant information. But this area has evolved in the last few years. There are, with higher spatial, high resolution, having satellites that go by more often, okay, than before, which allows for a continuous monitoring of a crop regardless of cloud cover. We have some satellites that use, rather than looking at how the plant reflects sunlight, they use radar. And the radar can go through clouds, and they can scan the earth even at night. So that there has been significant improvements. So if you look at the market, so we have that there are public entities that collect satellite imagery, okay? We also have private companies who use that information and put it in a nice platform. Okay. There are some private entities that collect satellite imagery. They don't call themselves imagery company or satellite companies. They are more like providers of information, and many of these were funded by ex-NASA employees or people working on the aerospace industry. So what about the public entities that collect satellite imagery? And before I continue, I need to have this disclaimer that just because I mention some of the names doesn't mean that I'm endorsing or the university's endorsing. And also, the names the list is not complete. I'm just going to talk about some that I'm familiar with or that I have worked with before. So we have, for instance, the European Space Agency. They have this constellation called Sentinel-2. They provide, and I will say that this is the satellite, it's the most popular right now. Okay, I think most people working on precision related with satellites probably use Sentinel. It is free, and the resolution, depending on which one you use, you can have a resolution of 30 square feet or 100 square feet. 10 meters or 30 meters. They have a nice application, actually, and this is free too. I pulled this from my computer. You download the image, and there are different processors. All of those are vegetation indexes. Okay. So, I mean, there is a lot there. I mean, it's not very hard, really, to do the processing, because there is a lot of that radiometric or automatic correction is done within the SAT. Okay. The problem with this is the size of the files. You know, you need to have a very good bandwidth if you want to download, the files of this type. So if you are like in Marianna, Arkansas, forget it. You're not going to. This is not going to work. You need to be in a city with with a good power. So it is. I mean, it is really good. Again, I've used it before. Then you have NASA, the Landsat mission that is also very popular, which is a joint venture between NASA and the Geological Service. Okay. It's been in operation since the early 70s, 72. So it has a very good historical database. So you can go there and see how, deforestation and many, many different things. Again, the resolution is, I would say, probably 100 square feet, which is, for our purposes, might not be that good. The Japanese aerospace industry has announced that Japan will, again, provide the imagery for free, will be public. And they are using radar. Again, if they use a radar, it doesn't matter if you have a cloud cover, they can do it at night as well. So all those are sources of information that it is free, really. Now, then you have companies that pull that imagery and then sell it back to farmer, a consultant, on a nice platform. One of those is Bayer Climate Corporation Field View. Okay, so they go and collect information. I understand they just sign. I think they used to use Sentinel-2. I'm not sure, but something I know is that they sign a contract with Aerobus, the European agency, and they'll be providing, I think it is something like 5 square feet resolution, which is pretty good. And this is a platform that that they provide. It has a lot of nice information. My question has always been is that, yeah, this is nice, but it's just information. I mean, and I think we still have a gap there, because a farmer doesn't want diagnostic, doesn't want information. A farmer, what he wants is a recommendation. So I think we still have a gap. There are some predictive models. For instance, here it says nitrogen status, and I don't mean to criticize this particular, it's just my opinion. It says, okay, here I can read really, but it's something like your nitrogen is deficient. So what? I mean, so what do I do? I think there is still some room there for improvement. Another one is Farmer Sage. Farmer Sage works with this organization called Planet, and they are able to provide high resolution. Again, it is again the same idea. They provide a platform with a lot of information, and in fact, the farmers I talked to who use this, they said the major benefit is really for data storage. They can go back and look at input costs, and it's basically that they are. I think, as far as I know, they are missing a significant amount of the value. There are other companies. This is NAC Solutions. NAC Solutions is a company from Spain. Okay, and they do the same. They provide similar information. These guys have a radar too, and they also they can fly a drone with a lidar. So I mean, it is similar to the ones before. HIMAB is also a company from Spain. All of them basically do the same, you know. This Kropio, I'm very familiar with Kropio. Kropio is a company from Ukraine. Interesting that, you know, Ukraine is very popular right now, right? But it's a company from Ukraine, and I understand Syngenta bought them last year. So what it does is, again, provides a platform where you can look at, again, you have a weather forecast. You can send them salt test values with a georeference. They will send you a prescription map, you know. So it is, I mean, they have a yield prediction algorithm, which is very generic, you know. And then again, they provide information. I really work with them, you know, and they are very flexible too. They are willing to work with you. But again, the issue with these companies, like this platform, at least Kropio, what they told me is that they were really, their objective was to scan 100,000 acres at once, you know, or so very large scale, because I think what they charge, around 80 cents per acre per year, so it's not that much, and they provide you with an image weekly. Okay, they also are into telematics, meaning that I mean, for I think it is $2.50, they attach a GPS in each one of the tractors or equipment, so a farmer can real time can open a screen and will see where each one of their equipment is working right now. I mean, to me, this will be very good for like a gene, for instance. You know, they could see where each of their trucks is located, or if it's going too fast or it's going too slow, whatever. But they also provide that information for $2.50 per year per machine. That's very reasonable. What we need to understand too, and this is from Kropio. This is NDVI map on corn, you know, B4, B6, and this is B8. We can probably guess what happened there. It got flooded, you know. That's what you're seeing there. So it's able, you know, these are, they provide weekly also images. This is NDVI. I mean, they send you in NDVI images. Something again, the fact that they do a lot of acres at the same time, and even though they have a quality control, we need to grant truth. When I look at this image, you know, and when you look at a lot of images, you get your eyes educated. If you notice, this is corn. I mean, this yellow obviously will mean like the corn is not growing well. But if you look at the pattern there, there is no structure. So I went back to the original image, and guess what? It was a cloud there. Okay? So even though they have quality control, it's still, you know, somebody may rush and say, oh, you need more nitrogen, when in reality, that was a problem. You see, same here. Look at that. Okay? So again, that's something we really need to be careful about this. Nothing is foolproof. Now, we have private entities that collect satellite imagery. And again, these are guys who used to work for NASA. You know, really computer geeks, very smart. And the idea of you know, the old satellites, you know, satellites like Landsat that may weigh 5, 6, 7 tons and may cost millions of dollars, and you will need millions of dollars to launch, is no longer, you know, the norm. These guys have been able to build satellites, and they actually call doves. This thing weighs maybe 100 pounds because 1/10 of the price of a satellite. And so what they do is they have constellations of satellites. Okay. Instead of one satellite, I mean, this company, for instance, Planet, they say they have 200 satellites orbiting the Earth, you know. So actually, I'll be working with them. I mean, and they said that they can even provide you with an image twice per day. Yeah, and the resolution, guess what? They say they can give me a it will be a 2 feet resolution. Okay, with satellite. Okay. I don't know how much they charge, I mean, with me. The thing, again, the advantage I think that we have is, again, they are computer geeks. They may have some, very bright, but they are not agronomists. So and again, these companies, they have these huge contracts with DoD, Department of Defense. Can you imagine if you are able to provide Department of Defense twice per day resolution at this? They can identify people, they can track, like ship movement, they can go to North Korea, they can go to Afghanistan, they can go to Iran. So the guy was telling me that agriculture is like their play, area that they find very interesting, but in reality, big money for them is all those industries. Planet, again, is one of them. There is another one called Capella Space. Actually, Planet own Red Eye, that satellite company that had images at 5 meter resolution, 15 square feet. Capella Space is also the same thing. Okay. Now, the question is, can we use satellite imagery the same way as imagery from drones or data from active sensors such as green seeker and crop circle? This is an application I helped somebody to develop. We certainly we are not there at the point. This is to estimate plant population, okay? In order to do this application estimate here where you see white lines represent crop row segments without seedlings. Every foot, you see that they really did a bad job here. Every 3, every 6, every 9 feet. Here, 9 feet without any seedling. And the precision of this app is around 93%. Again, the resolution needed to come out with this app is 2 inches. Okay. So they need to fly a drone at maybe, 20 feet, 40 feet, I don't remember exactly. So satellites are not there yet. But according to these guys, they'll go there. Now, how long does it take from the time you fly, you process information, and you do the orthomosaic? I mean, you stitch all the things together. It takes them around a week to do this. How long will it take for a satellite once it is automated? 5 minutes, probably. Not even that. Maybe 5 minutes and 10,000 acres. Okay. So that's where we're going. Now, this is an algorithm, developed based on satellite imagery, just like green seeker or crop circle. This what the plots here were set on. I think they were like 60 feet wide by 100 feet long. But again, it is an algorithm that can be used to fertilize corn, like the green seeker. So now, what about NDVI calculated with the satellite and calculated with the crop circle in this case? These are like 300 acres. You see here with the active sensor crop circle, and here with Sentinel-2 at 10 meter resolution. So they're very similar. This graph represents the relationship between an active sensor and satellite image. You see, I mean, it is the same trend. I mean, the values are not going to be the same because the camera, whether you use a camera or a sensor, they sense at a particular wavelength. I know crop circle, I think it is near infrared is 780, and Sentinel-2 is like 860 nanometers. So we are talking about different values, but the trend should be the same. In other words, if we are going to use satellites, they need to develop these algorithms based on satellite images. This is information. I don't remember if there is citrus or I don't remember right now, but you can calculate what is called the crop water stress index, okay, with the imagery from Sentinel. This is just tell you this is I think it was a drip irrigated citrus in Florida or olives in Spain. I don't remember, but again, you can see that here obviously there was a problem with the drip lines. Okay, so this is the information. This is the guys from Planet gave me this. This is crop water use using Landsat at 30. This is probably 30 or 100 square feet. This is a resolution of 2 feet. So you can see the level of detail, how much more details you can get with satellites, okay? And it's just amazing. So in conclusion, so again, satellites, the resolution is still an issue, okay? There are things, as I say, it takes a week to process the imagery to look at that plant population. And with a satellite, I mean, that will take just minutes. Okay. In my opinion, I don't know, my opinion is that's why in the future, as these technologies improve, I don't know, maybe drones will be a thing of the past. You know, I don't know exactly, but I mean, if you can do 10,000 acres in an hour, I mean, I think that's so it is to me. It's really exciting, and when you talk to these guys who are not agronomists, you really it's amazing all they have to say. But anyways, that's all I have, and if you have any questions or comments, we'd be glad to.
I think we've got like a minute, but we'll stay and kick it till they kick us out. Any questions?
Anybody using satellites here? Okay. Who are you with?
I'm Ahmed Hashim, I'm assistant professor at Arkansas State University.
Okay, so you are doing research.
Yeah, and my dissertation was for irrigation water management using Landsat and MODIS.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
so
and now moving to drones. So
yeah.
So, and I just gave a talk yesterday in the Arkansas Soil Water Conference about challenges we have with drones.
Yeah.
On a field scale. So.
Yeah, we just helped somebody. Yeah, I mean there is a lot of opportunity.
I use satellite imagery. I'm a USDA wetland team leader for NRCS. I do weather determination. Are you better than the weatherman?
Good luck.
Matthew, do you have questions?
How high over the morning is there any factors that could allow you to get a better picture?
Better sensor, more expensive sensor, and they were, again, she was about 15 feet above the ground, so probably 7 feet above the corn.
Yeah, probably
Depending on, Well, but still, leaves get in the way. You're never going to be able to see all the way through a canopy. So that's the problem. It's a leaf problem. It's not a sensor problem. But you can see on the top third of a lot of these plant canopies, and that's where a lot of the yield loss is going to occur with a disease. So there's give and take.